Okay, mid-chapter 5 quiz review. On the first section, we want to express each ratio as a fraction. So, how do we write ratios? As a fraction, okay? So we have 8 boys to 10 girls. How do I write that as a fraction?
8 over 10.
8 over 10. Now, it says it wants it in simplest form. What does that mean? Divide, reduce, okay? What's a number that goes into both 8 and 10? 2. 8 divided by 2? 4. 10 divided by 2? 5. It's okay. On number 2, 4 pencils to 12 students. 4 over 12?
1/3.
Yep, what number goes into both of those?
4.
4, so we get 1/3. Number 3, 18 out of 20. 18 over 20. What number goes into both 18 and 20?
2.
2, so what do we get? 9 over 10. Okay. Number 4, 2 cats to 6 dogs. 2 over 6. What number goes into both 2 and 6? 2, so we get 1/3. Awesome. Number 5, 25 out of 30 pages. 25 over 30. What number goes into both? 5 goes into both, so we get 5 over 6. Last one, 12 out of 28 students. 12 over 28. Divide by 4, what do we get? 3 over 7. Any questions over expressing ratios as a fraction in simplest form? Moving on to the second section of unit rates. Can anyone tell me what a unit rate means or what its value is?
The rate that something is happening,
So rate is as something's happening. What does unit mean?
like 1.
What's the value? 1. So unit rate is the value of one thing. So looking at number 7, it says 55 pages in 25 minutes. We want to know how many pages in 1 minute.
Divide 55 by 25.
So we need to start with ratios. Let's make a ratio. 55 pages in 25 minutes. How do I write that as a ratio? 55 over 25. What do we think we do with those two numbers?
Divide them.
We need to divide them to find the unit rate. What do you get when you divide those two numbers? 2.2? So 2.2 is how many pages are in 1 minute. So unit rate, what's the value of a unit rate? 1. Okay? Try those next 3 on your own. Number 8, 652 miles in 9 days. We want to find the unit rate. What do we do first? Make a fraction, write the ratio. What's the ratio? 652 over 9. What do we do with those?
Divide them.
Divide. What do you get?
72.4.
72.4. You can just round to the nearest tenth. On number 9, 176 new employees in 22 years. We want to find how many employees in 1 year. How do we do that?
Divide 176 by 20.
Yep. Make your ratio and then divide. What's 176 divided by 22? Everyone agree? Okay. Last one, $4.60 for 5 cans of soup. We want to know how many for 1. How'd you get that? How'd you get that?
Divide 4.
Yep.
Divided by 5.
Good. And you got 0.92? Any questions on unit rates? Next section, finding each quotient. Now, these are written right now as complex fractions. So complex fractions means there's a fraction within a fraction. Okay? Sometimes it's hard to decipher which one's the division bar. Okay? So the rule of thumb, you're always going to have 2 numbers before the division bar. Does that make sense? So how would I read this problem?
3 over 2 divided by 1.
3 over 2 divided by 1 over 3. That's your first step, to write it out horizontally. Okay? Yes, Brayden, what'd you say? Yep, it's a division, but we want to turn it to multiplication. So we keep the first fraction, change the sign from division to multiplication, and then flip or reciprocal the second fraction. Okay? From here, what do I do? Multiply straight across. What do we get on the top?
9.
3 times 3 is 9. What do we got on the bottom? 2 times 1? 2. Can I leave this like this? No, you have to write them in simplest form. Now, The way you ask that is how many times does 2 go into 9? 4, with how many left over? 1 over 2. The denominators stay the same. Okay, so remember, rule of thumb, 2 numbers before the division bar. Okay, so flip over to the back real quick. Left. How do you read number 12? 6 over 5 divided by 5 over 4. What's my next step? Keep, change, flip. What's my next step? Multiply straight across. What do we get? 24 25ths. Can I do anything with that? No. We okay on that one? All right. Looking at number 15, where is my division bar at? Under the 10. Looking at number 16, where's my division bar at? Under the 5. Even though that one looks like the other one's bigger, okay, some of us can't tell because it's hard which one's which. So we're always going to go 2 numbers and then the division bar. Deal?
Yeah.
All right. Go try those ones. Look at number 15 real quick. Let's talk about this one and then I'll let you work. How do I read this one right here?
It's 9/10 over 9 to 8.
9/10 divided by 8, but remember that's 8 over 1. And then do your keep, change, flip. Yep, go for it. Back on 13, how do I read that one?
3/4 divided by 7.
Divided by 7 over 10. Good. What's my next step? Keep, change, flip. Yep. From here, is there anything I can do before I multiply straight across? Yep, because what number goes into both 4 and 10? Yep, we can cross reduce. So 4 goes into 2. Sorry, 2 goes into 4. 2 times. 2 goes into 10. 5 times. Anything else can we reduce? Nope. Multiply straight across. What do we got on the top? 15. What do we got on the bottom? Can I leave it like that? No. Okay, how many times does 14 go into 15? Once, with how many left over? 1. What's my denominator? 14. Remember that cross reducing to help you out. 14, how do I read that one?
506 divided by 6, 7.
You got it. What's my next step?
Keep, change, flip.
What's my next step on 14? Keep, change, flip. What's next? Multiply straight across. What do we get when we multiply? 35 over 36. Can I reduce or simplify or anything? Nope. All right. 15 we already set up. What's my next step? Yep. Change it to multiplication. Don't forget to flip that second fraction. What do I do from here? Multiply straight across. What do we get?
9/80.
Can I reduce? Nope. Last one. How do I read this one?
2/5 divided by 8.
Divided by 8. What do I do with that 8? Put it over 1. Good. What do I do from here?
Keep, change, flip.
Yep. 2/5 times 1 over 8. I can simplify first. What simplifies?
2 and 8.
Yep. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 8 4 times. Anything else? Nope. What do I do from here? Multiply straight across. What do I get? 1 over 20. Any questions on complex fractions and dividing? So when you get to converting the following rates, that's when you pull out your blue conversion chart. Okay, all conversions are on there for you. Remember, we had a process to this, so let's go over it. 17, we have 48 ounces equals how many pounds? What do we always start with? Go through the process we've done yesterday. What do we start with? Always start with what you're given. Start with what you're given. We're given 48 ounces. I'm going to put that over 1. Okay? Our next thing we look at is what? What we want to what we want to get to, which is we want to get to pounds. Okay, now our third step is to look at the relationship. Okay, we actually want to do the conversion now. What is the relationship between pounds and ounces? It's on your conversion chart. 16 ounces in 1 pound. Now, where does the 16 ounces go? On the top or on the bottom? We want it on the bottom. Why do we want it on the bottom?
So the 48 and the 16 can cost it out?
Yep, so the ounce label goes away. Okay, that's the whole point of getting it on the bottom, okay? And then on the top, we said 16 ounces per 1 pound. So that 1 pound goes on the top. Do we have the label that we want now? Left. Yep. So now multiply straight across. What do we have on the top? 48. What do we have on the bottom? 16. Now what do we do with those two numbers? Divide. We have 48 divided by 16, and we get 3 pounds. So always go through those 3 or 4 steps. Okay? Let's do one more together. On 18, what do we always start with? We'll start with what we have. We have 4 gallons. What do I do with that? Put it over 1. What's my second step?
How many? See what you need.
Yep, see what you want to get to. What do we want to get to? Quarts. What's my third step? Yep. Yep, look at the relationship. What's the relationship between gallons and quarts? 4 quarts in 1 gallon. Where does the 1 gallon go? On the bottom. Why does it go on the bottom? Crosses out, and then what goes on the top? Yep, the relationship. We have 4 quarts in 1 gallon. Is everyone okay there?
Yeah.
Okay. Now multiply straight across. What do we have on the top? 16 over 1, which is 16 quarts is your answer. Try those next 2 on your own. It's okay if you're not done. What do we look at first? What's step 1? Yep, what we have, what we're given. We're given 24 yards. What do I do with that?
Put it over 1.
I'm going to put it over 1. What's our second step? See what we want to get to. What is it? Feet. What's our third step? Yep, see the relationship. What's the relationship between yards and feet? 3 feet in 1 yard. How do we write that? 1 over 3 or 3 over 1? Yep, 3 feet over 1 yard. Why do we write it that way? Yep, so the yards cancel and we're left with feet. What's my fourth step? Multiply straight across. 24 times 3? 72 over 1, which is 72 feet. Last one like that here. What's our first step? See what we have? What do we got? 3 miles. What do we do with that? Over 1. What do we need to get to? Feet. Third step. Find the relationship. 5,280 feet per 1 mile. Now do I put the 5,000 on the top or on the bottom? Put it on the top. 5,280 feet. What goes on the bottom? 1 mile. What cancels out? Good.
15,840.
Say that one more time.
15,840.
15,840 over 1, which is 15,840 feet. How are we feeling with those? These ones, you could have 2 conversions. Okay, we're looking at 2 different variables now. Still go through those same 4 or 5 steps. What's step 1? See what we have. What do we have? 150 miles. What else? Per 1 day on the bottom, right? Remember, we have 2 labels now. 150 miles per day. What do we want to look at next? What's step 2? See what we want to get to. What's our end goal? Miles per hour. Okay, now step 3 is what? What's step
See the
3?
relation.
Yep, start the converting process, the relationship. Now, look at top first. We have miles on the top on the right. What do we have on the left? Miles. So we don't have to do anything with that one, correct?
Yeah.
Now look at the bottom. We have hours and days.
There's 24 hours in a day.
There's 24 hours in one day. How do I write that fraction?
Put it above.
24 on the top. Nope. What goes on the top? There you go. One day. What goes on the bottom? There you go. 24 hours. Why did we put one day on the top? Why did I change my mind?
Cars out.
Good. So they cancel out. Are we left with miles per hour?
Yeah.
Yes. So now multiply straight across. We're on step 4. What do I have on the top?
150.
What do I have on the bottom?
4.
Perfect. What's our last step?
Divide.
Divide. What do we get?
0.41666666.
Yep. You might have missed your 0 there.
Oh wait, yep, I did.
So we get 6.25. What's my label?
Miles per
Miles per hour.
hour.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Try that last one on your own. Let's go through the 4 steps one more time. What's step 1? Yep. Write down what you have. What do we have? 220 feet per second. Now, are labels important?
Yes.
Yes. Write the labels with the numbers. Okay. Step 1's done. What's step 2? See what you want to get to. What do we want to get to? Miles per hour. Awesome. Step 2's done. What's step 3?
See the relation.
Yep. Start converting. See the relationship. What do we look at first?
Feet.
Yep. Let's look at the top first. We have miles and feet. What's the relationship?
5,280 feet in 1 mile.
Yep. How do we write that as a ratio?
Go down
What goes on the bottom?
the feet.
Yep. 5,280 feet and then 1 mile. Why did we put it that way?
So they get cars out.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. Are we done converting? No. On the top, we have what we want, right? But what about the bottom? Bottom, we have hours and seconds. How many seconds are in 1 hour? 3,600. Where does that go? On the top? 3,600 seconds goes on the top. What goes on the bottom? 1 hour. You got it. What cancels out there? The seconds cancel. Okay. Now do we have what we want? So what's our 4th step? Multiply straight across. What do we get on the top? 792,000. What do we have on the bottom? Careful. Don't forget about that 5,280. Everyone okay here? Then what's our last step? Step 5. Divide. What do we get as our final answer? Anybody got it?
150.
Yep, 150. What's my label? Miles per hour. Questions on conversions. Okay, write out those train tracks to help you. Okay, go through those 4 or 5 steps to get you through.